What is up, friends? Welcome into week 5 here at NECC Overwatch. My name is Jeff. Here with me to kick things off. We're over halfway through this fall semester. Shake up a bit here, Classy. But do want to remind y'all that now would be a great time to go follow us on Instagram, X, and YouTube. We will send you updates, keep you active on all things NECC. Because, of course, we have more titles than just Overwatch going on around here. That's just Thursdays.
And you see the Collegiate Esports channel where you get all your favorite esports titles coming right at you. Different days of the week, of course. Today is Overwatch Day, and Jeff, it's going to be a fun one. Unfortunately, we couldn't bring all the 3 matches, but we still got 2 great ones coming up.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was a bit of a reschedule there for our earlier match, hence our delay getting live to you here on stream. But we do have 2 bangers coming up. We're going to start off with Michigan taking on Cincinnati. Both of those teams 3-1. Should be a real tight match. Then a battle for New Mexico, as New Mexico State will take on University of New Mexico, the Lobos, in which sure to be a heated rivalry dating back to the ages.
It sure will. And of course, like you said, we're going to be starting with the University of Michigan versus the University of Cincinnati Red. Coming right at you. It's the Champions East Division for anyone who's following along those conferences quite in detail. And they're both on a 3-1 record. So that should tell you that on paper they're pretty close. Of course, we do gotta look at like their individual records, like who do they play against both, and is there anything that they have in common? And they haven't really played any of the same teams you would normally say, but in this case, because we're getting close to the end of the season, there's more like matchups that are coming through. So they both played against Purdue Bronze and Waterloo Warriors. Similar score lines. The only extra thing is that Michigan got the 1 extra map win against Purdue Bronze.
And it's kind of, we're seeing reflected in the map differential on screen, but that is both of these teams' only loss was to the same team in Purdue. So it's been a pretty even road for both of these squads approaching this halfway mark in our season. And this one feels like it's kind of anybody's game. Feels like a battle for second place here in this division behind Purdue.
Yeah, and obviously, that can still change. There is still more that will come through from this group, and we're not at the end of the season yet. But right now, they do seem fairly evenly matched. This could be a battle for that second place, basically, which is always cool to see. And like we said, on paper, they're close. We're going to see whether it happens on the map as well when we get there. But for now, let's focus on the teams and, more importantly, the players that we're actually going to see. Starting here with the University of Michigan's varsity squad, Roe, 888, C2D2, Toby, 1D, Mitra, and Cheese are going to be the starting lineup here. Some known names here, Jeff, not unfamiliar to us. Specifically, of course, referring to Yamitra, we actually had to check, is it the right person? But indeed is. They have a storied history.
Yeah, very much so. In both contenders and collegiate Overwatch, playing on Northwood for quite some time. Through one of their most dominant runs. That was up until the very beginning of this year. Also played in contenders for Rift and a couple other. I think most recently Rift. I don't know if I still have my sheet pulled up here, but a storied player, very much so. Particularly be here in the Champions Division. You expect that experience from Yamitra, particularly in a support role where you have the ability to do a lot of ult tracking, to do a lot of shot calling. We expect that experience to play a big part here in this matchup today.
Yeah, of course, and the question is always like, oh, why are they now on this team and on different teams? A lot of that sometimes has to do with priorities. Sometimes the academic career matters more than the esports career. Right. Maybe they had a different track that they wanted to go on. We might be able to have the opportunity to ask them at some point. For now, though, we know they are playing for this Michigan varsity team. And who they're going up against today, of course, is University of Cincinnati Red. They've got Rohan, Chu, Ondog, Lightning, and Nacho coming at you for their starting 5. They do have some in the bank if we still need it, but for now we're going to be starting with these. A lot of older players, so to speak. So it's a more seasoned team in terms of age, but probably also in terms of just college experience. There are a few younger players on the team as well, so it's a nice mix, and you often see that come through in the way that certain players might take the lead in the game or in the team as a whole, and that can create a nice atmosphere of more of the older team leaders versus Absolutely. The newbies.
You get a nice flow. It tends to lend itself to a really good hierarchy, if you would. Where we've got Andog on tank, who's a grad student here for University of Cincinnati. Definitely expect that leadership to play a part. Like much we were talking about from the support role on the other side, tank role also has a huge ability to kind of guide the team, particularly when it comes to engagements and when you want to take those engagements. So it should be a good one here lined up. Maybe not as recognizable players here, but again, a 3-1 record from the Cincinnati Reds squad. Not to be confused with the baseball team, just the name of this esports team. But Bearcats, well, they're going to be up against it today. Let's take a look at where we're going. As we're going to start off on Lijiang Tower. Kind of an old tried and true here, Classy.
Yeah, good old NECC system where one of the teams gets the ban, a map on the map side that we're going to next. So right now it is Lijiang Tower coming through first, and we're going to hybrid flash and flashpoint for sure. And because it's a first to 3, we might even get to push an escort, and if we get a draw somewhere, maybe even to another control map. For now, though, it is indeed going to be that Lijiang Tower initiation. And it's always a question for me, Lijiang Tower, on which sub point they will start, which stage sets the stage for the rest of the series. Because there is a very different approach that you can take to all of them.
Yeah,
and especially
I think more so than other maps. Like, Lijiang feels like there's more variety between 3 sub maps than you see on some of the other control maps.
It's why teams like it so much. Like, there's always been these questions in scrims, like, oh, which map do you like and for what reason? And Lijiang Tower always comes up as one of the team's favorite maps to start with most of the time. Not just because it's control, but also because of that variety. You get like a good warm up on these different things that you might need to get good at in your scrims, but also eventually, of course, for your matches. So let's see if they get the good warm-up here as well. I'm sure they have already done a little bit of a warm-up scrim before they started, but Night Market is where we set the stage.
If we want to get any sim strats right out of the gate, a long-time favorite. If even just to teleport out, but I mean, if you can get a sim or a maze set up on this point, it can be so difficult to break it open. Cincinnati showing us that exact DPS lineup. Not too terribly surprising here on this one. But on the other side, at least what the Wolverines have got up right now, this could be a bit of a shock.
It really could be. I mean, the Mei is obviously very strong at the moment just because of the way that she has been damage buffed. They did nerf a little bit of the slow that came through this week. However, the slow was the least of people's worries. And with all the cooldown nerfs that have come through, this is still potentially a very interesting matchup in terms of what's going to happen. Especially that immortality field from Baptiste is going to be a big deal.
Oh, look at all the damage Cincinnati took trying to make that rotation. Nacho didn't even make it. Rohan and Chu get on with less than 50 health each. C2D2 gets halfway to their ultimate and basically demolishes the team with 1 mine.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate, especially losing Nacho so early, because that just meant there was not a lot of healing left, at least not burst healing. Just lightning on that Lucio, and they use their amp up to get out of spawn quickly, I'm sure. They can re-engage on this. Of course, they don't have the Symmetra that, they were... Well, I mean, they don't anymore, but like they were really hurt by that, so to speak. So they had to, I switch off the Symmetra. And it was a really quick fight, so not a lot of ult charge given over to either team, except for C2D2, of course, because they're close to the tire.
I can't help but wonder if this was part of Yamitra's experience with the input on that Junkrat. Now University of Cincinnati have to try to push into all the spam damage. Andog has already used their support. Ooh, but even those cooldowns down, C2D2 gets caught out by the Icicle, 98% to tire. And Cincinnati have made their way onto this objective. All attention towards Turn Toby 1, and the Sigma will fall. Baptiste doesn't make it through the window in time. Cincinnati are going to flip this thing right on back. After a little bit of cleanup here, Cheese was trying to dance around for a moment, but the music has stopped.
I mean, as soon as a Junkrat goes down, it is open season for University of Cincinnati Red. They don't have to worry about all that random spam coming in. Because spam is one thing, but Junkrat spam is just something else. See the headshot come through, and it is a very predictable thing. It's like Hanzo arrows. You just aim at a corner at head height. You're bound to hit something at some point. There's both Amp Matrix, because though this is a lot of damage coming through.
I mean, big props to Shu for reading the timing on C2D2's peaks. And now Shu with the Blizzard out, but has to sacrifice themselves to get it on the board. Still, Cincinnati able to convert on a very important kill onto Toby 1. Get the tank out of there. And Michigan now just kind of slowing down. Looking a little stuck on a speed bump outside this point. Going to try to use a tire. See if they can dislodge themselves. Rohan leapt back. Managed to keep toes on solid ground. to regroup on the back of this point and continue exchanging shots here with Rowie on the other side.
There's a little bit of a stalemate, obviously, but as soon as Nacho goes down, this is going to be the call to initiate, because that is the Immortality Field gone, and a lot of healing too. Instant ult usage from both teams, Lightning with the Sound Barrier to get it up, and they do get a counter pick.
Yeah, both teams dropping Overclock and Sound Barrier. And that pick on a Rowie should help him out a lot. Ooh, nice little move. Tommy coming from the outside with the Gravitic Flux and slams Sandog down. Get the tank out of there. Rohan, a quick little Hypersphere punch combo. We'll send that Sojourn back to spawn as well. Ice block up to stall, but it won't last long.
Yeah, Immortality Field will keep them alive a little bit longer, and it is dangerous still to have the Mei around. They're going to keep stalling for as long as they can. 76%. Apologies to Cha, by the way. They did correctly tell us that it's Cha as in Chugga Chugga, and we like to keep that alive. Unless they mean Chew in Chugga Chugga Choo Choo. It's complicated, Jeff. I mean,
it's Chew.
Even when
it's
they give us
Chew.
But even if they give us a pronunciation, they still make it complicated to figure it out. Either way, it's
don't get me started on Cave, all right?
It is exactly. There we go. Rohan with the opening and the cheese. That is bound to spell disaster. But there's the amplification matrix from Ymitra. This could still be tricky fight to run into, but it's only safe execution, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, running in that double damage is almost impossible. It has allowed Michigan to get surpass the percentage, and now the Matrix in return from Nacho in Cincinnati to try to force Michigan back. But, ooh, nice little move. Okay, a wall after they disengage, followed by the Blizzard, is going to interrupt the Gravitic Flux. Toby1 could not get out of the range of that big ol' AoE. Andog's going to pick up C2D2 in the interim, and Toby1 still stuck on the outside. Michigan get picked apart in here, what could be final fight. It'll be a broken contest if at anything here towards the end.
Such a good place to put that Blizzard too. I mean, there's so little space outside to stick there. And Toby1 didn't know the Blizzard was gonna come out, but yeah, they did get the touch to start the overtime. Overtime is gonna take down. There's no one really that can touch eventually. They don't even make it with Rowie. And that's gonna be the first point going over here to this is Michigan, right? Yeah.
Cincinnati even?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry,
Rohan.
Cincinnati. I misread it. That's my bad. Good job, Cincinnati Red. Apologies. I am not reading your sheets correctly today. However, UFC Cincinnati. I mean, I honestly, when that Mei came out, I already felt like they were in a little bit of a better spot. Not just because of the power level of Mei currently, but also because of the accuracy and the utility that you have versus the Junkrat on the other side. Like, sure, you can do a lot of damage with the Junkrat and the Sojourn, but good teams know how to both path and damage mitigate versus the Junkrat, and they'll be able to sort of dodge this danger that you get from Junkrats in like your pub games, for example.
Cincinnati just used a teleport to get out of spawn this time, not wanting to try to teleport directly to the point, knowing CTD2 had to be looking out for that play. Nice shot from Rohan on the outside, had an outstanding first sub-map. Picks up 2. Both DPS falling to Rohan early in this fight, and it should be an easy pickup from there.
And what we call a shaky start on stage 1 is a very strong one on point B for Cincinnati Red here. And now Gardens is going to be very tricky. I mean, how are you going to get over this bridge with all this poke coming at you, with the wall being able to split you up in both these tight chokes that you're going to have to deal with? And the only way you can really see this happen is most of the team, because like everyone except for Sigma can just jump over this pool. But if Rohan keeps hitting these opening picks, what are you going to do?
I mean, yeah, but if you pop the Baptiste right in the dome with the railgun, I mean, the rest of the team is just frozen in place. Michigan's plans just absolutely crumble underneath them here.
Yeah, and I think they're going to try and go through White Room, which is the better choice. No environmental danger. It's a little bit more straightforward in terms of the choke, but they're going to have to be so careful about this Mei.
And I was about to say, I'm not sure Baptiste is with them. Mei Wall has already been used, so Toby1 doesn't have to worry about that. Nice. Creation Rock will interrupt. Oh, it doesn't interrupt the grass. Still a bunch of extra health here for Endog, so they can just hold court here on the front line. There's the Blizzard Ice Block coming from Chew, and this one is also going to be monstrous. Into the back, Rohan goes, picking up kills all along the way. The Ant Matrix is nothing but a prison cell here for Michigan.
Yeah, it will be a couple of picks. They got Nacho and Lightning on the other side, so it was getting a bit dangerous without that healing. But obviously, Cincinnati just had them boxed into a corner. It was a white room, and it became even whiter with all those ice crystals. They're going to now go over the bridge because they know they have the numbers advantage if they go quick. So they will be able to get to the point safely. But C2D2, oh, so low.
Soundbird also rolling it out of... now it's just a tank and 2 supports trying to hold on here, but Cincinnati have everything going their way. Plan worked to perfection. Toby1 trying to bring things back with a Gravitic Flux. Cheese is able to get a pair. Really, just a Sigma and a Lucio. Find 3. C2D2 is returned. And Michigan have an overclock here as well. My goodness, as the Wolverines dig their heels in and wrestle this one away.
Look, eventually they had to be able to use their ultimates, and they got them off and got the value too. They'll only have the Rip Tire, but that can just win the fight outright. That gives them some time to build up the others. And on top of that, Cincinnati sitting on a big fat 0 in terms of ultimates. They're also going to, of course, choose to go to this white room. It is just the safer choice. But with the Junkrat spam, you still have to be so careful.
Nice little move over the roof. Dropping it in, and N-Dog just gets absolutely bombed. Oh, tires falling from the sky. It's raining explosions, Classy.
Yeah, if they have to be critical, I would say, you know, use the tire a little bit later while the fight's going so you can build up some ult charge, because they barely got to do anything in that fight, like either team. But of course, you know, Cincinnati also didn't get to build up much. They will have a Blizzard to come into this, and they're going to come in with the Orisa on Andok too. It's a big change, but it'll be able to mitigate more damage than the Sigma will.
It's a nice Bionate from Demetrius. I'm going to follow up, and Rohan still is dialed in with these railgun shots. Accuracy has been incredible from Rohan today, but finally, Michigan are able to get something done. Find that backline, find Nacho. Shoot with another wall and yet another Blizzard. They've been massive already. What a shot! Picking up the Lucio out of the air. The Blizzard is going to freeze Yamitra up stiff. And the Popsicle will shortly melt after. Not before getting off a nano boost, but that last bit of desperation shut down. And Shu is just dotting eyes left and right with icicles.
Toby1 going over to the Doomfist was a very, very hard thing to go with, just because of the, you know, like, the nature of what Doomfist is for running into this team. But it was a swap that just came out because they wanted to regroup quickly, and then the Orisa came out. It was a problem. But a lot of this team's just work comes from the fact that Andok's able to stall for both Chu and Rohan to just do so much work on the DPS side of things. Like, they're being kept up correctly, the cooldowns are used correctly, and Chu's aggression on the Mei, like in these situations, it's so good. Then the accuracy to sort of rely on that headshot then on the Sojourn that is nano boosted, like that takes some guts. And the extra 50 HP on Mei definitely helps as well in that situation.
It was, I mean, the accuracy on top of everything. The accuracy from Chu was unreal. We're going to get to see this Blizzard here in a second. Watch how close they are to falling off the edge. Look at that!
That is knowing your physics engine, guys.
That was so close.
That is how you get to learn your physics engines in Blizzard. I mean, all these players are like computer science, data science, cybersecurity majors. Like, they know how to game systems. So I'm 100% sure that they have some sort of sense for that math that you need to do. So like, oh, when do I need to activate my ice block? Will I still be able to stay on? Of course, in the moment, it's always a little bit tricky to actually do it, but they pull it off. So. Good job.
That was calculated. That was measured to the millimeter there, Classy. Like, that was nuts.
They had some room. That was not that close.
It was pretty close. It was pretty close.
Pretty close. There's some room over. It's fun.
There's at least 1 or 2 more millimeters left on that ice block before Chu went falling into the streets of Lijiang.
Either way, that does mean we're going to have to go to over to Hybrid next. Now, we do always have the saying, is it just going to be King's Row again? We do have the option to go to King's Row if it's not banned. I would love to see it banned, but, you know, on the other hand, it's still a cool map. It's still a good map. If I am Michigan here, I would probably choose to go to a more open map, because if this Mei keeps coming out, might not want to go into a map where the wall is constantly in your way.
Yeah, try to shut down Chu a little bit, who definitely seemed to take over. I mean, the problem with that is once you go to more open maps, then you just open the door for Rohan to continue to take over on the Sojourn. So it's a bit of a double-pronged attack here coming out of Cincinnati, and it's definitely going to make this choice an interesting one for Michigan. We'll see how they choose to play this, because right now I feel they're kind of in a doomed if you do, doomed if you don't pick scenario.
Yeah, I mean, Eichenwald is at least out. It's not going to be the map pick that's coming through, and it's at least, yeah, it's just gonna be King's Row. I mean, I would sometimes I do wonder why we bother, Jeff, but in this case, it is fine. It's gonna be King's Row. We're gonna go back to the good old. And to be fair, the way they were playing the Junkrat, I can see it working out on King's Row, even if like nothing else changes, right? It's just the question is whether C2D2 also plays other heroes. I don't think they have to on King's Row, but it's just a question of because they haven't swapped yet. And they haven't particularly found a lot of value with the hero. They got the opening pick on Nacho on Night Market. They got that one pick off with a tire on onto Andog at some point, but that's kind of it. Like most of it was just spam and sort of like, oh, area denial, you can't walk here right now. But it didn't really seem to bother Cincinnati all that much. So got to figure out if there's something else that we can do. And if they go to a May of their own, how they execute that would also be interesting to see.
Well, my thinking is also to play the Junkrat, you're far stronger if you're able to lock down a position and spam out pathways and chokes. So, which pretty much just limits you to defense for that to even be an option here. Now, we are going to get Michigan starting off on the defense, and we do see C2D2 locking in the J-Silly. But we'll see what happens when they go on attack. Maybe that's when we start to see a change and see what else C2D2 has in their hero pool. But for right now, only change in the composition out of Michigan is Yamitra picking up the Yari, and it's Cheese who's picking up the Baptiste, who was playing Lucio on our previous map.
Yeah, and to be fair, if the map is laid out the way it is in King's Row, speed boost is only really necessary if you get into this position where both teams are rushing at each other. So you get the you rush at us, we try and run away, like we kite away type of right. Dynamic. And in King's Row, that doesn't happen all that much. So might as well get the extra damage, and still, you can set up a point here. So it's very nice for the pylon to be set up. It's a good choice here, and a lot of healing and extra damage that is going to come out now for Michigan versus last map.
Cincinnati making 0 changes to their composition. C2D2 setting up a bit of an ambush here on the outside, expecting the team to win. Here they run right into your trap! And still, C2D2 is not able to capitalize. We're on with the flick. Immediately dispatches of the ambusher. Now, with Lightning going down, does Cincinnati have the speed they need to close this gap? Right now, it looks like they're going to settle for just hanging around the outside in hopes they can get another pick, with Yamitra poking down at him from the high ground behind Andog right now.
They are trying to get some shots off, but unfortunately they can't find the purchase on the second shot of the Iari, which is very important if you want to actually get eliminations. Chu is finding those, so it is going to be looking like a fairly easy 0.1 take here for Cincinnati Red, and it just feels like they've started to find the option. They click the download button, and their percentage is ticking up. I think it's currently at about 50%, and as this map progresses, it could go very, very quick to 70, and this might not be a long series, Jeff.
Might not, especially if Rohan keeps playing like that. Yeah. Rohan has had 6 elims already. We've had 1 team fight.
Yeah, for sure.
Nutty stuff. I mean, found the opening pick, and then gets the initial or the second pick. So past the pick onto the Junkrat, gets the second pick on the approach, I believe, onto Cheese. So that enabled Cincinnati to move in and really take that point A without any resistance at all.
Yeah, for sure. Rohan still looking for that, the instant pickups to start of the fight. Did get shot in the head. We do see C2D2 now going over to that May, which could be a big difference. But Rohan, of course, just finds that opening pick again. There's the amplification matrix. You got to run away if you're Michigan right here.
Everyone managed to get quite a bit of health off of that, but oh no. Yeah, C2D2 disengaged the wrong direction. Cincinnati make the raid, and everybody just chases them down.
Yeah, that overheal is going to tick down fairly quickly. There it goes. So now that's all gone too. Toby won very close to that Gravitic Flux, though. This could still be a Flux off. And Yamitra to the Iari ult too.
Ooh, Toby Wood manages to survive despite the wall at their back, dodges an accretion and ducks around cover. 95% to that Flux and try to stop Cincinnati, who, if Cincinnati wins this fight, well, Michigan's in real trouble. Yamitra, with the captain's son, trying to deny all the value from the Gravitic Flux and the Blizzard, but they cannot. University of Cincinnati, once again, with excellent placement of their ultimates, and they're able to steamroll this thing in. Monstrous amount of time left on the bank, and kills continue to go in Cincinnati's favor.
And it's not, at this point, it's also not even the way that they use the value they get out of the ultimates. It's that they use the ultimates and that they initiate the fights. So at this point, Cincinnati is playing at a tempo, which they are able to do because of the Lucio as well, that they get to initiate quicker and just come in out of nowhere almost. Now they wall off Toby one. They do get out, but there was a little bit of a cooldown usage that had to be used there for Michigan. And there comes the defensive flux. It does get Andog, but that's all it gets.
Okay, I was about to say, I didn't know if Lightning was going to drop that sound barrier. Waited to the last possible moment and manages to devalue both the Blizzard and the Flux because of it. Impeccable stuff coming out of Lightning. Though, in the end, Toby was still able to pick off Nacho. And Michigan have their best opportunity to win a team fight yet on this defense. Wall of trying to protect against this overclock, but Rowie goes in deep. Point blank finds Chu. Sees the Lucio speeding past him, and we'll turn around and take care of Lightning. First fight win here for Michigan on King's Row.
Yeah, at that point, Rowie always almost sounds like a battle cry, right? Like he's going Rowie.
Yeah.
Just,
I love it. I love it.
And then the overclock comes out. Like if you could make custom voice lines in Overwatch, I got one for you right there. However, right now, Cincinnati Red, they do have some ultimates coming into their bank that could just close out this map. That point does not. The card doesn't have far to go. It is rolling back, so you could see maybe 2 or at least 1.5 fights before it gets to the end. But they are just amplification matrixing for the defense, and that's not even going to be a fight. They're just going to run away. I mean, rightfully so. It's a very scary ability to run into.
I like the idea that we had 2 scientists just like arguing about gravity over this corner for a few minutes.
Yeah.
You know, who's got the bigger PhD?
Yeah. I mean, right now they're going to have a bigger ult bank instead of Cincinnati, so I don't know if that counts.
Yep.
But
I think that definitely counts, especially if you're trying to win a map of Overwatch.
It's got to be a doozy, and now they have the amplification matrix advantage too. There is the sound barrier for Cheese that can block something, but what is it going to be block? It's going to try and block the amp matrix damage.
I mean, it's an overclock with an ant matrix, and I mean, it works. Cheese has managed to keep the other 4 teammates and themselves alive.
Ooh, and got cancelled.
Michigan has had to back up right into a Blizzard. There's just no cover. Everybody gets frozen up by that. Cheese might have gotten out, but I think they're the only one.
No, they do have C2D2 on the side still, together with Cheese, indeed, on the Lucio. There's a little bit of chance to still come back into this. The doors are being blocked, and Chu is being accurate as always. Meaning they had one thing in their profile, and that is that they shoot weapons on Lucio with spacebar, but they're shooting icicles with right-click. That is a lot of melee damage, but that was just Cincinnati having a plethora of options, right? So actually, Michigan did a really good job of defending. They blocked 2 ultimates with the sound barrier. They even accretioned the gravitic flux. But then there still was the Blizzard. It's like, at some point, you cannot fault Michigan anymore for not being able to cancel 4 or 5 ultimates that come out within 20 seconds of each other. Like, that is a very tall order. And they even then, they almost did it, but just not quite. So props for Michigan to like hold as well as they did, but it's still a decent time bank for Cincinnati here.
I think decent's a bit of an understatement, my friend. 244 is a pretty darn good time
more
bank.
than decent.
And it was all set up because Cincinnati did such a spectacular job on point A and B. Yeah, you can't fault Michigan for losing a 4-ult fight, but they put themselves into such a rut. Put themselves so far behind the 8 ball. I mean, they didn't put themselves. Cincinnati put them there with phenomenal play, particularly out of Rohan, to just storm through both of the first 2 sections. So at that point, Cincinnati had just put themselves into such a favorable spot. It was certainly tough for Michigan to do anything about it at that point. Honestly, they probably did good to eat what time off the clock they did.
Yeah, exactly. Like there was just so much momentum going on. I think that may just be the name of the game in this series. Is Cincinnati is able to not only use, basically create momentum, but also use momentum very well. And even when they lose it at some point, which they did on third, like they obviously lost momentum, they're able to find a way to build it up and then just unleash it again, which in the form of just an overwhelming ult bank. So we'll see if Michigan is able to put up a similar start and a similar aggression when they now go over to the Bastion. No more playing around. The basket of bullets is coming at you.
Yeah, we're running the May Bastion Cup, and Rowie still just gets picked off. Rohan has their number. Incredible mechanics from University of Cincinnati. I feel like Michigan have great plans. They've got good strategies, but the University of Cincinnati just has the mechanics to overcome.
Yeah, and you gotta also remember, right, the comp doesn't quite play the same as it did last week because of the extra cooldown on both the Immortality Field as well as the reconfigure for Bastion. You can't just go into that turret form all the time. You actually have to plan it out a little bit more. And it also means that Cincinnati has a lot more ability to play around that cooldown.
I mean, I think the turret form has a little more spread on it too, so it's not as reliable. Even if you are in assault configuration, it's not like it was a week ago. Rohan with a crazy flank. Look how aggressive Rohan is getting. Rohan is like hanging out with the supports. Finally, dishes on Hotel while Chu gets decimated in the front line, courtesy of Ymitra's BAP. Amplification Matrix up, and Rohan finds that Ymitra out of the sky. Just duck hunt here for Rohan on King's Row.
The ability of Andok to just shield their team, like the rest of their team, while Toby1 does go down the front line, it's just unfortunate. Like, I think that tank matchup is something we also got to look a little bit more, because I don't think Toby1 has been doing a bad job, but it's really about like where do they use their mitigation and where are the openings for the enemy DPS. And so far, Andok it feels like they've given fewer opportunities than Toby1 has for their DPS to find those burst shots.
Blizzard in, makes it past Toby1's gonna grab. Saw Toby1 chasing. No, it was so close. They saw it. We're chasing. Cheese will drop the cell barrier. Gravitic Flux from both sides, as a matter of fact. And it looked like Andog got the better deal of the better end of that exchange. Blizzard is in here for C2D2. Nacho's frozen up in the back as the sound barrier fades from Lightning. And Andog just will not be dislodged, just standing in front of the Michigan Amplification Matrix. It just isn't moving. Still alive. It's Toby1 who ends up going down, and they're the team that had the double damage.
And that's interesting as well, right? Because again, it feels like Michigan is on attack, but it feels like Cincinnati is the one that's on attack, because C2D2 tried to do like, a Blizzard play, like we put the Blizzard a little further forward, then we run into them, we eliminate them. But in terms of what they did aggression-wise, Cincinnati was already pushing them back. The only one that got frozen was Nacho, and Nacho was just sitting in the back. No one could even see them on the side of Michigan. That's how far away they were. And that it comes back to momentum again. They're going with the Symmetra now to try and get to this high ground. They did teleport a couple, but not everyone could make it because the teleporter just got destroyed. And C2D2 just again gets railed by Rohan.
And I admire Michigan for coming out with different strats. They're not just, beating their head against the wall, trying the same stuff. They're making different approaches, different compositions. Trying to teleport the Bastion around, get them up onto high ground. But going up against Rohan, there's just nothing to be found. Nacho picking up a 3K in this fight as well, not to be outdone.
Andog with the final blow on the cheese, and now it's a quick regroup and the last chance of Michigan to go in and not instantly go to a 2-0. They want to get some percentage on this point. They want to cap it. They want to complete this map, but it is looking in dire straits without any ultimates online. They're close to a few, though.
I'm sure we got a touch. No, the Gravitic Flux means Toby1 didn't touch. Okay, Cheese got there just in the nick of time. He's just dancing around the outside. Now the Ant Matrix up. And Toby1 runs through, manages to get one with the Fire Strike through that, but Cheese is going to fall in the front, and unfortunately, Toby1 is there by themselves. This is going to be a full hold. You see the 15 kill streak there for Rohan, an exclamation point of just a badge of excellence here for the Sojourn player. Incredible performance thus far.
And we even get to the next level of execution here for Cincinnati Red, where it's not just that they're able to find the picks, it's that even when Michigan is able to sort of circumvent ult usage or circumvent ult value, for example, Reinhardt getting both Gravitic Fluxed and frozen from the Blizzard and thrown in the air, even when that happened to Toby1, Cincinnati was like, okay, so you're using all your cooldowns to save your Reinhardt. We'll just go after the people that we didn't target in the first place, because those are apparently the ones you're not protecting right now. It's that next level of target switching that comes into it, which is even more of a it's a target-focused discipline thing that happens in comms that is very indicative of very tight teamwork that Cincinnati Red is portraying here. And
a great read of the situation as well.
Yeah,
to know
it's
exactly when to make
in
that
the
turn.
moment.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. A dominant performance from one 3-1 squad against another 3-1 squad. You might look at the scoreline and think that these two, are widely separated in our standings. Not so. These two are basically deadlocked coming into week 5. But Cincinnati is running away with this, which brings us up to our halftime. But you know what? During our halftime is a perfect chance to go over to our YouTube, because if you're looking for your VODs of any of your NECC matches, all NECC VODs are housed on our YouTube page. Just search NECC Esports on YouTube, find our page. While you're there, give us a follow or sub or all that good stuff. Well, there you go. With that, it brings us to the half. Can Michigan do anything? Or are the Wolverines just going to get sunk in 3? We'll find out when we return. A dominant start from the Bearcats of Cincinnati with a very clean 2-0 lead thus far.
As Jeff is unfortunately muted, I think.
Wait, what?
We do have a few things coming up.
They can still hear me.
Here.
You just couldn't hear me.
I mean, I couldn't indeed. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Stupid Discord. Stupid Discord. All right, let's start that over. Just rewind. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. All right, and 3, 2, 1. Casters are in. Yeah, so Cincinnati had a dominant start there to our opening match. A clean 2-0 on Lijiang Tower. You hush. And a very clean 3-0 with a full hold on Kings Row. I mean, dominant thus far. Not a single point for Michigan thus.
Yeah, Michigan is looking for that first point in general. And of course, while we're going to Flashpoint, there are a lot of points up for grabs, a little bit easier to grasp as well because there are so many and the percentage ticks up so fast. But you still have to win those fights. And so far, they haven't won a whole lot of them, but they did look pretty good on control compared to Kings Row at least. So there is more of a Control-E vibe, as we call that, on a map like Sudavasa, on a mode like Flashpoint. So that does mean they have the opportunity to come back into this a little bit more than they might have on another map type. I am very much looking forward to seeing what they can do. We did we or did we not get subs in the end?
It was a role swap. It's not necessarily a sub, but
yeah, right. That was what we got.
Yeah, we do have Cheese is going to move into the DPS role, and C2D2, who had been playing the Junkrat in the May, is moving down to support. So we'll see what this means as far as compositional swaps coming out of Michigan.
Yeah, we did. I mean, C2D2, while they played they did play their heart out. Obviously, they did pretty well. There was some disconnect that was happening. It looked like maybe it has to do with their hero pool. Maybe it has to do with it just not being their day to day. Could be that Cheese has something up their sleeves that is very different from what people usually play. Maybe there's like a very good Genji player, for example, which has been known to come out on maps
Reaper.
like this. Reaper indeed is now what they're showing, but they're already flicking to the Genji. It's like, look, I have my crystal ball right here. I'm sorry, man.
Clearly.
I just, so it's fine. They still haven't come out of spawn, so we're still ready to be bamboozled. The Ashe pick is a little bit more curious to me, specifically because there are a lot of ways to circumvent an Ashe, and she is the most mobile and flexible of heroes in terms of what she can do. The Bob is nice for contesting the point, and a Dynamite, due to the nature of teams playing fairly close to each other, will likely get a lot of value. But it's obviously still a matter of you have to hit those headshots, otherwise she will very quickly fall off in value.
It's a bold choice, and I think it's a direct response to Rohan. Try to see if they can challenge the Sojourn outside of the Sojourn's preferred range, as that Ashe can play a little bit further back. And we can already tell Michigan was kind of trying to take the long fight. They're rotating around where Cincinnati are positioned, not necessarily going face-to-face. Yumitra, who has a nice Ana, by the way, typically a main support player, but has a wicked Ana. Yeah, trying to open this thing up. But Michigan not able to find the picks to this yet, and they just continue to backpedal.
They are taking a lot of damage. Specifically, Toby 1 is taking a lot of damage. Not surprising on a Doomfist, of course. Has some mitigation, but a lot less flexible than, for instance, the Sigma, so has to just get out a lot. And there's the first pick onto Rowie. Will instantly be found, will be found on the Ashe. And now there's just a lot of mitigation attempts and just stalling and poking. But the points already being capped by Cincinnati, and the longer this drags out, the more Michigan will lose.
And there's no DPS here for Michigan, so they've got to get out as cleanly as they can or end this as quickly as they can. CJ2 is going to try to escape cleanly. Manages to do so. Nice moves.
Yeah, I mean, that is skating away. They're definitely showing that they have no problem switching over to support. I mean, so far, it's been very dodgy and very just around. Going to see if they can get some good boops and some cooldown usage in. Of course, so far, not a problem. Ultimates are getting closer for both teams. A couple online already. There's the amplification matrix to start it off. I mean, how can you really get into this? Well, Nano Doomfist seems to be the answer.
Yeah, going right behind that amplification matrix. Quick little move out of Nacho to get up and out of there, but Toby1 still manages to find them. You can't run from Toby1, they will hunt you down. Jeez, unfortunately suffering a similar fate on the other side, but without the Baptiste, it feels like Cincinnati's time is limited on this point, and they got to find these kills quick. In a 99 scenario, they'll that punch seemed to negate the Doomfist, but it didn't knock him down. Sound barrier here from Lightning in lieu of lack of Baptiste. What a response from C2D2, Gravitic Flux. See if it can turn the tide, be the difference maker. At least gonna get one, but Michigan are managing to trade out here in this very important fight for the first point. Toby1 picks up one, Yumitra getting on the board as well, and the point is flipped.
They finally managed to do it. It is 99% for Cincinnati. We all know how tough it can be to take these points, especially if that pick comes through late on Nacho. It's going to be a tricky one to get back into. There will only be a Dragon Blade as we do see a pause come through. That is Cincinnati asking for the pause. We'll hear about what the reason was and what went on and whatnot. Nice place to go into a pause at least. At least we're not mid-fight, right?
Absolutely. I wanted to note that there was a Bob used there, like right before the pause happened. I did not see where that went, but it felt.
No, the Bob was out a while ago. It's already been. It's already lost. So basically,
I know it ended. I guess it was the very end of that battle.
Yeah. No, so when Andog was still on the point, it was actually a decent move from Rowie because Andog was like, "I'm just gonna shield dance, no matter what side of the shield you're on." And then Rowie said, "Well, if you're gonna put a shield up, I could put Bob on one side of the shield, myself on the other side of the shield. There's nowhere you can go," and that made them be able to cap the point afterwards. So that's where the Bob was used, in case you were if you missed it. But yeah, that was pretty good. And then I mean, like I said, of course now we will have the Dragon Blade online for Cheese. I don't know if they're gonna wait for the Nano Boost. It's possible that Umitra can charge it pretty quickly, especially with Toby 1 already being on half health. But it will be I mean, even a clean, like a neutral blade can get some value. It's just tricky to do against the Immortality field. You have the Mei with their block, Sojourner that could jump away. You might even get some tank value coming at you from Andog as well. And Lightning and Lucio is going to be hard to catch too. So it is a requirement that you're going to have to burn some cooldowns on the side of Cincinnati before you use it, and not use it as an initiation, unless you just want to bait for cooldowns.
And Dog making a swap off the Sigma, going over to the Orisa to try to challenge Toby Wan's Doomfist. Overclock to start things off, and well, they combine to take the Doomfist out so quickly. I don't think I've ever seen a Doomfist die that fast. That was unreal. And with that, I mean, this feels like an inevitable conclusion. Cincinnati going up 1-0 here on Saravasa.
Yep. I mean, you say you've never seen Doomfist go down that quickly, but you obviously haven't been in EU quick play lobbies where people despise Doomfists. At least when they're on my team. When they're on the other team, somebody do pretty well. However, Cincinnati Red now in a pretty good spot to have a good first fight on the next objective with the Blizzard doing a lot of spacing. They are going to run into a fair few ultimates on the side of Michigan. Still, that Blade is online. They're going to have the Meteor Strike as well as the Nano Boost. So the question is who is going to get the Nano Boost. But that's a good early wall off. Who's going to get caught by this? Doesn't look like anyone will. Good escape from the Genji, and that's just early ult use, but not much value.
No, I was hoping to catch him inside, and the Nano Boost is indeed out with the Katana. And here comes Cheese, trying to turn this around. Finds Lightning in their sights, and 3 already down. A quick and decisive fight win for Michigan. Just what they needed. Kind of get themselves back in the driver's seat, get a little more confidence in their squad.
Yeah, and you think with Toby 1 getting the value that they were getting, why would you still use the Nano Blade? It's not just for the fight confirmation. There is an Orisa on the rest of your team, and because Doomfist exists, Doomfist cannot fight Orisa. So if the Orisa gets free in the backline, she's gonna find value unless you have some tools to use against her. And the Dragon Blade, the Nano Blade in particular this time around, just creates enough of that extra chaos and space and damage value that the Orisa will not just be able to walk through and help her team take down the rest while Doomfist is doing his thing.
I mean, totally worth it to keep your backline alive, so you can take a solid fight here. And Matrix from Cincinnati to start things off, coming up on a sound barrier. There is one on the other side. Early Bob, at least took a lot of the aggro from the Amplification Matrix. Yeah, Toby 1 tried to dive in with like 5 health. That was never going to work. And this is an immediate flip. Cincinnati flipped this over before even finishing the fight.
It's interesting because you feel like Toby 1 always has 5 health when they go in, but like when they go in, they're usually still at like 60% health. But as soon as they press that slam button or the punch button, they just instantly seem to lose. Just instantly seem to lose health, which means that they always need to count on needing 60% more health than they think they have.
Oh,
which is just not realistic.
Toby 1's already in trouble here. A great nade from Umitra though. Toby 1's able to get top back up. Terra Surge coming out. CD22 is going to go ahead and invest the sound barrier. Toby 1 barely gets it at the final second. That was close. Lightning trying to respond. Almost got that interrupted. Lightning's still going to get melted. Beautiful anti-nade into the mix. And Toby is punching people around left and right while Cheese is taking the aggro from Rohan, who has been a complete X-factor in this series, is kind of nullified by all their attention trying to shoot the Genji.
The Terra Surge was a nice idea. Like, it was just, oh, we gotta create space, and if everyone tries to step on, we're gonna just slam it down. But Fortunately, it didn't find the value that it needed, and the space created wasn't created for long enough for the point to flip. So no value there. They will find Rowie early for somehow. I mean, that's just Chu doing Chu things at this point. But there will be... Oh, they do it!
No way! That was incredible! Opening pick goes to Cincinnati with that beautiful shot as Chu out-snipes the Ash, but nobody saw Toby1 waiting in wait. What a play from Michigan.
Anyone's still wondering why you picked the Doomfist on the map. And this is why I picked the Doomfist on this map. Now they can swap. They don't have to be in Doomfist anymore. But of course, they got like 40% ult charge, so now they have Meteor Strike, which is a good opening for the next point. And it's going to keep on snowballing from there. However, another Bob will be online from Rowie. There will be another Meteor Strike indeed. Only thing that's on the side of Cincinnati is going to be that amplification matrix, and it's not even online just yet. So they will be able to initiate and get to this point without having to worry about the window. But of course, it charges pretty quickly, and Cheese is already being eliminated here.
What a convergence to find Cheese as they dash down the stairwell. They got McButler to make up for the lack of DPS players, so we're back to a 5v5 at least momentarily. Rohan kept out of the fight by said Bobo.
Oh, no.
Endog is antied on the objective, and Lightning gets picked out at the very end. But here comes Rohan. Finds Toby1 with a headshot through an amplification matrix. Nobody dare stands on point when Rohan has this railgun ready to go.
It's going to be a tricky one to finish out here for Cincinnati. But, you know, they could do it. They've already done it on 2 other maps and 1 point before. Toby1. Cheese now switching over to the Tracer as well. Even less health and less vertical mobility as well. So this might be even trickier. Now Chu can just one-shot you at any point in time. Don't even have the deflect to work with. Toby1 able to back off into this corridor. Does get javelined, but we'll be fine. And,
were they chasing Rowie that whole time? Is that why they made that big rotation?
I think so.
Everybody from Cincinnati just rotated on this like in a counterclockwise fashion. And Rowie died when it was all said and done. Didn't quite see who they were chasing, but with a 4v5, I mean, Michigan are so hesitant to try to push in on this. What are they waiting for, that nano boost?
They don't have to push in, though. Like, all they have to wait for is for this Doomfist to make a move, blow him up, and that's kind of it. Like, so far, they've been very able to rely on these opening picks because Michigan is forced to make a move. And it's been working out, but now it might not anymore. Oh, it still works out. There's 2.
Yeah, Michigan was waiting on the nano boost to engage, and I guess get their 5th player, get Rowie back in the fight. But alas, none of the above end up working out for him as Toby1 gets blown to bits.
We are going to get, of course, the next flashpoints. There are 5, but we only have potentially 2 more to go. As it's now match point and map point here for Cincinnati Red. Only 1 more 100% point, and they'll be able to walk away with the series. And they have 2 points of chances to do it with. Michigan only has, well, they need to win both of them if they want to have a chance of, well, not only extending, potentially still winning the series. As Cheese gets picked off straight away.
It was before the wall even came up. Rohan was so fast and so accurate with that shot that Cheese could not even get the wall up before that railgun had dotted him between the eyes. And first control on what is our potential final point of the series is in Cincinnati's control.
Yeah, able to just, I mean, out-mechanic them. You brought it up before, and it still holds true. Like this, the out-mechanicking of the DPS in particular is a very big issue that they're having on the side of Michigan, and that Cincinnati is able to leverage quite well. It goes a little bit deeper than that, but it's a factor for sure.
I mean, Rohan continues to light up the feed. Every single fight, Rohan is a factor of some sort. Down barrier out, trying to protect against the Terror Surge. In from Andog. Andog got very low on health. It still manages to slam the Javelin onto the ground.
Good.
Blizzard out from Chu. Gets blown up for it. But the Blizzard did land. Manages to carve that one around the kinetic grasp. And it ends up being the death of Michigan. Could be the end of the series here if they don't get a touch in the next 10 seconds.
Yeah, this is not going to be, well, it's less than 10 seconds too. It's how quickly this timer goes. It's very, very hard to get back to this point in time. Only C2D2 should really be able to do it, and they are wall riding, but they cannot make it. Physically impossible. That's a GG. Cincinnati taking away the win. Very deserved as well. I mean, at least they didn't get their download to 100% because of all the comp swaps on Sudavasa there, but it got close. And while this is, of course, definitely the play of the game, and undoubtedly this will be the play of the night, I cannot imagine anyone else doing anything cooler than that.
Great.
But, you know, I would say they got the moral victory with that one, Michigan did.
They had to inject a little life into the squad, you know, if anything, a little fun into the squad.
It looked cool, yeah.
It looked great. Oh, that Blizzard was so phenomenal. Interrupted the Gravitic Flux with that one, too. That was kind of the start of just, this is how dominant Chu can be. That particular play was eye-opening for me, and not to mention the accuracy out of both Chu and Rohan. Really the story of the day for me. Those two DPS players, absolutely incredibly lethal and incredibly dynamic.
That being said, of course, Cincinnati looking good on multiple fronts. Like, it definitely wasn't just the mechanical outplaying. There was more to it. We talked about their target selection being excellent, like their target switching, their ability to layer, to read a situation in the way that they had to layer their ultimates. Like the end of King's Row, for example, where it was like, yeah, Michigan did a great job at peeling away to 3 or almost 4 ultimates, and then there was still a Blizzard. Like, it was that next phase, that next step. They're always, whatever Michigan throws at us, we have the next step ready, and we're always one step ahead. Like, of course, they would have had steps ready if they had realized that there was a gap there on Sudavasa. That was like the only time where they weren't ready, but in every other situation, they had an answer, and mechanically were also able to execute with that answer. Now, we see how it happened. 2-0 Legion Tower, 3-0 Kings Row, the 3-1 in Sudavasa. There was that 1 point they got, very largely potentially due to that big environmental kill. However, still a 3-0 for Cincinnati.
And they're going to move up to 4-1 on the season. The Wolverines falling to 3-2 after that one. So I think a big statement game here. I mean, one we anticipated to be very close. On paper, these two teams are neck and neck. I mean, it looked, even playing a couple of the same teams had the same results against those teams. So it was really up in the air, like, from what we saw of who was going to win this. And wow, what a dominant performance. What an incredible statement out of Cincinnati. And you get the feeling like they're on the hunt for that rematch against Purdue Bronze, the only team to hand them a loss thus far. But
yeah, I mean, it's what it is. That's how Champions West is shaking out at the moment. Of course, there's still a fair few weeks to go, so we're not quite there yet. Plenty of time to come back, and obviously, you know, just because you couldn't win this match doesn't mean you're going to not win a lot of others for the side of Michigan. They could very well still end up in the playoffs and take it all the way. However, for now, that was the game that they played tonight, and I'm sure they'll have a lot to learn from this. With all the meta changes coming through more frequently now, it is a tricky landscape to be in Overwatch 2. And we're not even that far away from just like the next season coming through at some point. So it is going to be a lot of shakeups, a lot of adaptation, and you can see which teams are just a little bit more adept at that. However, we are, of course, done with this series. Doesn't mean we're done for the night. There's going to be another series after this. It's going to be a bit of a wait, but while the wait's going, why don't you check out some other stuff that we got going on? For example, the NECC Fall Open, presented by the Samsung SSD. This is, of course, a League of Legends event. So, is it just a League of Legends? I don't know. Either way, bring yourself to the Rift with your team. Make sure that you sign up for the qualifiers. Qualifier 1, I think, is already going. The Qualifier 2 is still up for grabs. It's going to be happening next weekend. And then, of course, we have the playoffs the weekend after. So make sure that you grab your squad if you need it and show what you got on the Rift.
Well, that is going to do it for our first match here in Overwatch. Oh, we have one more coming up. It's going to be the battle for New Mexico when we return, as New Mexico State takes on the University of New Mexico when NECC continues. We'll see you in a bit.
like this. I 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 like this.
NECC Overwatch Week 5 continues here as we get into our final match of the night. But before we start getting into details about that, now would be the perfect time to follow us on all of our socials, Instagram, X, YouTube. We'll send you updates, info, keep you active, keep you in the know of what's going on here at NECC. We got a lot of different titles here, not just Overwatch, and a lot of cool events coming up. So be sure to go drop a follow there. But with that said, Billy is joining me here for our final match of the night. Welcome, my friend. Let's get to talk about what we're about to see here for this final matchup. Battle of New Mexico.
Yep, 193 miles between Albuquerque and Las Cruces, New Mexico, and the tension is filling the land of enchantment right now. But there is a big gulf between these two teams. New Mexico State Aggies coming in 0-4 with a -10 map differential, having a struggle to the start of this season. Meanwhile, on the other side, your Lobos coming in 3-1 with a +2 map differential, and we are here in the Champions West Division. We'll take a look at said rosters here. We'll start out here with the Aggies from New Mexico State: Depresso, Zulu Legend, Inex Drummer, and Jivey. And I was looking at the behind the scenes stuff, and there is a wide range of majors here: psychology, genetics, quite a few in computer science. I like the 3D animation and VFX. That's kind of up your alley there, Jeff.
Yeah, I also happen to be a drummer, so there's a lot of correlations there between me and this junior here. Yes, I was a 3D animation major in college. That's what my degree is in. Now I cast video games. Anyway, so yeah, that's NM State. They've struggled a little bit here to start. They've only picked up 2 map wins in their first 4 series. So hoping they can kind of really find their footing today in this rivalry against the University of New Mexico. We saw the Lobos take their first loss last week against Texas A&M. Otherwise, they've been pretty darn flawless, coming in with that 3-1 record you previously mentioned.
Yep, Karama, Keygator, Faraday, Silhouette, and Bozeman will be the lineup here for the Lobos. And like you said, they did take their first loss last week against another Aggie team. So is there going to be an Aggie curse going on here? Or will the Lobos be able to take the in-state rivalry in their favor? We'll take a look at how we're going to get there. We've got a map selection will be standardized throughout the season here, but we'll take a look at how we will get to where we are going. We'll always, of course, start out on Control, and then we'll head to Hybrid and Flashpoint after that.
Down here in NECC, we do also have a pick and ban system. So your higher State, the Lobos got to ban out first Control map, I believe. So New Mexico State get to choose our opening map, and well, now you see it on your screen. It's Antarctic Peninsula. Start things off. Grab your parkas. It's going to get cold.
You know what? I'm kind of disappointed that they banned Samoa. I would really like to be able to cast that map. I'm telling you what, I haven't had a chance to yet. Still trying to figure out all the nicknames. I'm trying to decide if we're going to call it the concierge desks that you come through to get on the point there. But I digress. Antarctica Peninsula. This is one of the newer maps here for Control. Penguins will be shown, or there will be violence. And I love it.
I like that movie. That's a good movie. I like that movie.
Thank you. But I mean, 3 completely separate points, just like any other Control map. You have your brawl composition that works really well on sub level, and then you can go with poke. Some Bastion May strats if you are feeling frisky. Sojourn works very well here. Symmetra actually works very well on Icebreaker, particularly. So it just depends on what the comfort level of these teams are and how they decide to address the map.
Give us a pretty good indication on what these teams like to run. Now, there's not as much variety on Antarctic Peninsula as we saw in our last series. We start off on Lijiang Tower, and you get very different looks, or at least the potential very different looks from the 3 different submaps. I feel like Antarctic Peninsula, the maps have more of a similar quality. Very, very small, confined, actual objective areas for most of these maps. A little bit of high ground to work with around the map at some point, be it directly over the map like we see in Labs, or it's kind of off to the side there on Icebreaker. So it lends itself to some really good DPS play. Wouldn't surprise me to see some Sojourns sitting on that high ground and just raining hell down upon their opponents.
Now, Jeff, you and I have not had a chance to talk since the patch went through, but man, Zenyatta got kicked pretty hard. First real touch to the Omnihealer since we saw the last big massive changes like in 2019.
Oh, that's not
really
entirely true. His Discord orb got nerfed like 9 months ago or something like that when it went from 25 to 20 or 30 to 25. 25 to 20.
Okay,
That's been the only
bigger.
change. Yeah, it's honestly, I think the healing orb buff is highly slept on. I think if dive does become meta again, being able to keep a healing orb on your tracer for 5 seconds instead of 3 is actually pretty significant, but only in that very specific situation. The Discord orb itself, which is the biggest utility of the Zenyatta kit, definitely took a bit of a hit. But we haven't seen a whole lot of Zen in this meta. It doesn't look like that's going to continue into this matchup. I do like NECC bringing out the Zarya. Zarya is always a fun hero to watch, always indicative of a lot of aggression.
I love when we get a chance to see, especially for me, getting to see these different universities as they show their identity when they come out the gates. They're running the drummer Ana into it. Ana not played as much nowadays. This biotic field is going to be, or the biotic grenades are going to be huge here as they try to get in. And if they're going up against a Sigma, Zarya, if high charge, can actually walk right past the experimental barrier.
All right, just go in and mow down the back line. And we see already NECC is at 100 charge. Rotating back around to the point, which hasn't even unlocked yet. Deflect used early. You can't stop that photon cannon. Lucio caught in a corner, melted. Bozeman's just a pile of goggles and a pair of skates. Just remain smoldering in the corner while the Lobos fall. Well, they moved on to the point, but they don't have any reinforcements left.
I mean, that is New Mexico State taking the first map win. And I mean, that is exactly what they needed on the back of some seriously good play from NECC, getting that high charge, maintaining it. The support was perfect there. Halfway towards a sound barrier is Jivey, playing the Lucio right now, getting NECC around in and out of those engagements nicely.
Well, I wonder if that's going to continue to be a strategy here from New Mexico State to focus down Bozeman and just win a sound barrier war. I mean, that's certainly an approach. As Bozeman is considerably behind. That could get away from the Lobos if they're not careful. They made overclock, or excuse me, it was Keygator just sliding out, had a full rail charge. Faraday antied, only in a mortality field, keeping him alive through that heavy beam from NECC. Eventually, the healing will come through, but it's been slow and steady, and the Lobos not been able to crack in yet. Kurama tried, just gets greeted by Izulu. Now the sound barrier is up from Jivey, well the hell of what Bozeman could do, and the New Mexico State squad are just going to mow over Lobos with that extra shielding.
I mean, that was decisive. I love the decision to go ahead and pop that early sound barrier, knowing how quickly the Jivey generated it. Now you're looking at, possibly Big Bang here with the Pulse Bomb and the Graviton Surge online, and Keygator's out of the fight.
If the Lobos try to push it in on this, they still have time if they want. Just wait for their reinforcements. Oh, Kurama, be careful, bud. You can't go challenge Zarya like that. You're likely to get melted. Kurama does fall inside of the fence, and Keygator has returned. So the Lobos try to decide how they want to use their ultimates, the Sound Barrier and Ant Matrix most specifically. Looks like Kurama has already moved on to the objective. Ant Matrix aggressively positioned, but here comes the Nano Blade out from Izulu. Chop it through one. Immortality Field has to be used on the back end. Eventually the Hammer wins the day, but with some reinforcements, NM State still come out on top.
No, the Aggies are playing this absolutely perfectly. I mean, they invest the Nano Blade into that, but now you still have Pulse Bomb for, one of these speedy characters that's going to try and touch. And then NECC can just lock him up with a Graviton Surge.
Oh, what a sleep. And the Grav is going to lock him up. Nobody will touch. Faraday tried to just pin onto the point, but gets slapped right at the doorway. Lobos never got a chance to use that sound barrier, Billy.
I mean, that was pretty well played.
Decisive that was. Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Records be darned. We've got an in-state rivalry here, and the Aggies are not looking like they want to go down to their 5th loss of the season. That was actually pretty well played, and from both from the Aggies side. Lobos looked a little bit sluggish there, if I'm completely honest. And I think the fact that they came out on the Sigma, and they just got completely tanked there on the first sub map.
Well, Lobos making some changes. Lots of them coming into this second sub map. as they're going for a more divey DPS line to try to match what Depresso and Zulu brought to the table. Depresso coming out on the legs here to accompany Zulu's Genji.
I don't hate it. It's a good mid-range poke. It provided a decent amount of shock value here onto the point. Oh my god, so low it has to force recall already.
A very consistent damage coming out of a Soldier 76, and even a little bit of healing to boot. Right now, NM State are kind of locked down in their own corner on this side. Faraday eats a Bionade and has to just back on up. Gator trying to harass from the outside, and NM State slowly move their way onto the objective, but not before the Lobos have grabbed the cap. Depresso with a nice shot will find Gator with that one. Now trying to see if they can melt the other DPS as well. Kurama the focus on everybody here from NM State. That attention turned to Faraday, who's backing him around the corner, and it's Drummer who finds that final blow. The Lobos have first control, but they're not going to be able to hold on to it.
I mean, what great sustain there coming from NM State. And, I mean, the Aggies absolutely turned that fight in their favor. And, yeah, they're going to go ahead and capture at 22%, 23%, my bad. But, I mean, look at what Kurama got done there for the Lobos. Despite going down, we have the Blade online already. Plus this Kitsune Rush. This is a great initiator for the Lobos.
Yeah, it's a little more confined, as you have to say in one space, but a Fox Blade is still pretty powerful, and indeed, it's exactly what the Lobos trying to do. Kurama just got absolutely stifled, as that Blade falls a little flat. Faraday now dead as well. It's a 5v3 on this point. The Lobos invested into this, and all NM State had to use their sound barrier.
Oh, the bomb goes out. Oh my god, the pulse bomb there. Kurama. Oh,
Okay.
They almost turned that fight on their own. Okay.
I don't know about all
flashy.
that, but it was good. They got two of the
flashy.
5. Yeah.
I'm just saying, every fight starts with a kill. And I mean, getting 2
Fair.
right there,
Fair.
It's great. But now, Nano Blade ready to go. You've got the Graviton Surge once again. Jivey is not afraid to hit that sound barrier when they have it available. They are very assertive with usage of it.
Drummer has all the options in the world in front of him. As far as either DPS or the Zarya are great grab targets right now, and it's going to go with the Triton True. El Clasico into the back line. Cuts through Silhouette. Now turn their attention, get a little revenge on the Faraday from losing that duel in our first sub-map. And then the Nano Blade works out well. Neither team able to hold on to this point so far.
I know it keeps going back and forth. It's like a seesaw. I'm getting a little bit motion sick here. But, once again, it's just 2 ultimates into the fight. You hold on to the tac visor. You're going to wait for Faraday to go down. Shatter could be actually massive here if they can land it when the projected barrier goes out.
Rama narrowly escaping disaster. Faraday looking for that shatter up on the high ground. Get the feeling Inex is waiting for it. Has a bubble in the pocket. There goes the shatter. Inex did not get the bubble out. Sound barrier used with it. A great Bionade from Drummer. And the Graviton Surge is thrown in. What a play from Drummer. Enabling Inex to stay up through the shatter and respond in kind. Massive props to the Yana. And it's the reason NM State are about to take this map. And it's only the 3rd map win of the entire season, Billy.
This doesn't look like an 0-4 team. Holy cow. I think they might get the last second touch. They
Nah.
do not proc the overtime. And that is clean as you like. Good Lord, the Aggies have come to play, Jeff.
Apparently Crimson is the weak spot here for the Lobos. Both these teams very even in a lot of ways if you're looking at the history of the 2 universities. Even very similar when it comes to color and all of those things. But New Mexico State really stepping up, really showing the edge here in our first map. And it was all in the back of Inex and Zarya.
I mean, this Zarya was just too clean. And I think the Drummer has to have an honorable mention there. Getting the work done, holding Nano for the Blade, really getting big Bionades in there, purpling up the Lobos time and time again. I mean, Silhouette could not keep up with the Suzu to cleanse it fast enough.
We saw the Lobos even try to pull out the Ana of their own, but Drummer seemed to have the superior one. That play from Drummer in that exact moment, that play right there was map winning, and a huge tip of the hat to Drummer for making that happen. Incredible stuff out of the Ana, incredible stuff out of the Aggies. And NM State coming out with a 1-0 lead. I mean, this is a surprise. I don't care who you are. This is a surprise.
This is a shocker right now. I mean, when it comes to in-state rivalries, we were kind of talking about this before we came on air for the last series tonight. In-state rivalries just do something different. I'm thinking about the Apple Cup. in Washington with Wazoo and the University of Washington. We're thinking about the Rocky Mountain Trophy there in Colorado with University of Colorado in Boulder and the Colorado State Rams. I mean, when you get down to it, good Lord, this is just an in-state family affair, and they want to have dominance over their in-state rival.
Nothing energizes you more than that rival. I mean, I've seen bottom teams rise up and take down championship teams across multiple levels of competition, not just in esports. I've seen it happen time and time again, and it's that rivalry. Somehow that rivalry just puts that extra oomph, that extra fire in your heart. And we saw it absolutely burning bright here from the Aggies in map 1. What a display! Also, a slight correction on my part. I believe it's NECC is the tank player here. So I was saying INEX, my fault. I think it's NECC is the appropriate pronunciation, but there you go. Apologies. I do my best, friends. We want to get it right, but we don't always. But I can't admit my mistakes, Billy. And Lobos made a few mistakes of their own there in map 1.
I just think that they really got bamboozled by the NX Zarya. Looks like we do have a ban in coming in for our hybrid map, and looks like the Lobos have banned out Numbani, so we will have a map choice here very shortly.
Yeah, that's the Aggies banning out. So winner bans that out. Yeah, so New Mexico State.
That didn't happen.
Nope. We're perfect, y'all. We never make mistakes here. There's no mistakes ever made on this broadcast. Ever. With that said, yeah, it's New Mexico State does not want to play Numbani. They're like, ooh, no. I mean, which kind of surprises me. Their dive positioning and stuff looked really good. Maybe it's just a bait. Maybe they're like, please take us to King Row. Please take us to King's Row. It's got to be a bait. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right.
Well, it looks like the map choice is actually in, and well, you are a prognosticator extraordinaire. We are headed to jolly old England.
It kind of makes sense just from the way the matchup played out on Antarctic Peninsula. So NX coming out with the Zarya. We saw Faraday start on the Sigma, and the Zarya just ripped it apart. Faraday then goes to the Reinhardt for the second sub map. Absolutely. I mean, it has a little bit better success, but still falls a little short when it was all said and done. So it makes sense to go to King's Row. You've already seen what tanks they want to play. Those tanks are popular on King's Row, and NX knows they can beat it already. So I like the choice just for that reason alone.
Yeah, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And especially with how good the Ana was playing there, they never seemed to be able to get into the back line. I think that really had to do to Jivey. The Lucio play was actually, chef's kiss. We mentioned the fast generation of the Soundberry. We mentioned the aggressive use of it, but what we didn't mention was how good Jivey was getting the rest of the team around and really, doing just Lucio things there, and it was fantastic to see. So we'll take a look here and see what the Lobos can do.
Yeah, I think Bozeman is going to have to be a little more careful. I think Bozeman is just an aggressive Lucio in their own right, but New Mexico State read that, and they get picked off, and so I mean that's part of what led to Jivey coming up with these really fast-looking sound barriers. I think a lot of it was just punishment onto the other side.
I mean, you punish mistakes, and I mean 5v5, one loss of a teammate pretty much seals the fight in and of itself. Yeah. Especially the speed. So Silhouette, I liked the Kiriko change. I liked that they were aggressive with the Kitsune rush. It just seemed like NX had a barrier ready to go to help get the most vulnerable member of their team out of danger, and then they were able to just turn the fight on its head with that high charge. So this is something that's really going to have to be in the back of Faraday's mind is when you do go in, are you counting the bubbles? Are you maintaining that tank wisdom that we all have to have as tank players? It's a very rough time still to play tank here in the current state of the meta. But you know what? I believe that the Lobos do have they do have the wherewithal to be able to get into it. So I mean they are 3-1, and that's nothing to sniff at. I mean the loss came to a Texas A&M team that's really surging right now. So I mean on the back of their season so far, I think they're doing pretty darn well.
Really good start for the Lobos. I can't help but wonder if perhaps that loss to Texas A&M is still in the back of their minds. Coming up against a different Crimson Aggie squad here in New Mexico State. Are the mistakes from last week, is the disappointment from last week still haunting them a little bit, and perhaps a reason they're not looking as confident as we're used to seeing this Lobo squad?
I mean, maybe it shattered their confidence. I mean, that could be a knock-on effect here from that loss last week. So,
it's just speculation, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just thoughts that I can't help but acknowledge bouncing around in my noggin. They lost 0-3 last week, and suddenly they don't look as good today. Is that a reason? I don't know. Could be.
I've got a couple answers here. One is that New Mexico State says, "Yeah, I'll match your Reinhardt mirror." Faraday actually flashing us a Sigma. I don't hate that in the slightest. Now, when you've got the two hit scan characters, though, Depress is going to be on the legs. We're going to see Zulu Legend on the Sojourn. So, are they trying to set up this kill box from the dueling high grounds?
Looked like Depresso was on the low ground, but I'd imagine Izulu is indeed up on the high ground with Drummer. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's hard to tell which is which. I think Drummer's actually in the corner and Izulu's up in the window, but Bastion's just going to go right for the back of the hotel. Yeah, if they can mow down the Reinhardt, at least force NX all the way back through the archway. Look how much space New Mexico State has to give up right now.
Yep, I mean, you've got both the hit scans up there, and NX actually gets it done on Silhouette, so that is your Baptiste down. That should be the go time for them to recontest.
Yeah, NX just circles all the way back around through the house, finds the kill onto the Baptiste. Clever play from NX to not just rest on the laurels of trying to muscle their way back through the archway, but immediately makes the decision to go on the flank, and it works out beautifully.
Yep, absolutely perfect there. They do give up 2 ticks, so that's permanent progress. So we won't be drawing out here potentially. Now it's going to be up to Karama. Perfect wall placement. You want to see that again. You want to make sure the Silhouette is being very careful about their lines of sight as well.
Just Karama throwing down some icicles down low while the rest of the team moves up high. Ooh, looks like, okay, I think they wanted to grab that high ground, but they'll just take the long route up to it. Continuing to circle. The Lobos are going to go all the way into the window. It does force a couple of New Mexico State members to drop down and kind of reconvene behind the hotel. But it's opened up some space around Statue where Izu Legend has circled all the way back around in their own right. Look at it. The shields have kind of flipped directions. Oh, that's an aggressive move there from Drivey, jumping right on top of the Baptiste. Even got the Immortality field out. And it opened up that space as Izulu moves in to clean up what Drivey started.
Aggression. Well-timed and absolutely perfectly played. And they do it in the neutral again. That's 2 fights in a row where they've had ultimates ready to go and just did not have to do anything. The rotation was too clean from them. And now you've got this shatter. As soon as that experimental barrier goes down, it's go time.
Mexico State doing such a great job of knowing they've got to keep their distance from that Bastion. Lobos, similar maneuver. No, this high ground's too important. They cannot just let Drummer and Izulu sit up top. Drummer! That was a bold move. Didn't disengage. Decided to take the duel. Kurama wins it. Throws the Blizzard down into Hotel. Tries to take a duel with Izulu, but T-Gator cleans up on the back of the Blizzard with a little help from the Ant Matrix from Silhouette.
This is a broken fight, and yeah, that should do it right there. The speed is gone, and now look at this. Kurama up to Bookstore, looking for an early pick. Drummer is in their sights once again, Jeff.
Very aggressive Ana. Oh, that's not an Ana. That's NX charging right at you. I love these rotations. I love the decisiveness coming out of New Mexico State. Like, they make a decision and they go for it without hesitation. And that opening pick was so massive. Now NM State can plant their feet right at the archway.
But you've got a rotation going with Silhouette and Key Gator on the side. They're going to have the artillery strike here, and the Flux should lift everybody up. Jivey using that sound barrier puts them at a disadvantage right now.
Just camping up in the window. There's that great flush we're talking about. Got absolutely nothing. Artillery strike doesn't get anything either. Several ults, 2 back-to-back from the Lobos, and they barely even get a health bar down. Now the Shatter hits 2. Bozeman, fortunately for the Lobos, is able to get the sound barrier off, but still the kills come through. That's a nano Reinhardt. It's going to take more than a sound barrier to stop NX.
NX has just welcomed himself into the lobby once again and is having a wonderful time doing it. That was a great fight turn there. I mean, they devalued 2 ultimates. Now, the first one was a little bit of misaim from Faraday. But the artillery strike, they were anticipating that everybody was going to be caught in the flux, try to drop it on top. That's just unlucky. Build up the next one.
You guys going over to the Soldier 76. Same positioning, just a new hero. Rama making a swap of their own as his Bozeman. So, I mean, this is actually just a lot of swaps from the Lobos. Everybody making a big change, trying to see if this Winston composition combined with Key Gator on the 76 could be the ticket. And, well, it's got him at least one kill. It's a start.
You've got 3 DPS on the field now with the Iyari coming out there. But once again, these nades are going to be so important for Drummer to land, and the sleeps have to be huge as well.
Speaking of nades, it's Silhouette who lands the big bio, and NECC, yeah, just cannot back up to the corner in time. Well played here from the Lobos as they isolate the main target of NECC, and everybody focuses them down.
I mean, that was a beautiful bubble from Faraday as well. Just the 9 resources coming in. Yep, yeah. That was perfectly played from them. So nice follow-up, nice fight win, greatly planned. And now you've got this pylon. Bozeman is pretty darn near unkillable. Same thing with Key Gator while they have the biotic field up.
Look at how Lobos are positioned as they've just surrounded the objective. Is the capping point here for Point B. Faraday took a couple of early shots, is trying to hide away. Nano Boost was used onto Karama, though, and they've already chopped through. Izu Legend just ended that overclock very prematurely. Depresso still on the outside, though, with Attack Visor ready to go. This lone DPS from the defensive NM State. Desperate to find something here with this ultimate. Tried to aim for the high ground, but Faraday is just going to jump right in front of it. The Nano Boost onto the Reinhardt will force the Winston all the way back, even gets the bubble out. NM State have bought themselves some room, but not any eliminations on the back of it. Shatter down through the cart is not enough. Karama was already dancing around you as the Shatter gets nothing. Zilch. Lobos are moments away from this cap.
Yep, and I mean, they're going to do it with 30-ish seconds on the clock. So 2:02 as they enter the Foundry. We'll see if there's changes coming through. Yes, there are. Depresso's going to use the Ash to get the high ground, try and negate what Karama's trying to do. But you've got repositioning from Faraday. You're going to have a take up on that high ground. NX giving us their own Winston. So we're going to look for the nano engages there.
SB also making a swap over to the Brigitte. More accurately. Karama got stuck on the high ground, and they got a little stubborn there. That fight against NX, so they just get melted by the Tesla Cannon. Faraday's trying to come return the favor. Finds himself surrounded. Got Izu Legend down low, but not enough to find the kill.
Great healing there from the Lobos, keeping their tank in the fight. They have the repositioning and the recontesting ability of this. Oh my god, this is so good. Coming in for the Lobos, and Faraday goes out of the heat.
Silhouette had to use the Bionade to save Key Gator, and Faraday just gets caught without any resources left from their supports. And here comes an aggressive push out of NM State Crimson on the back of a good nade from Drummer.
Well, I mean, we'll probably have dueling Primal Rages coming up very shortly. Depresso, after that swap, already 75% towards Bob. This is going to be a very gnarly engagement with about 45 seconds to go.
Lobos have a couple of support ults to work with. Bit of a battle between the ninjas. Around the corner comes a captive Sun. Went into the back. I think that got both of the supports in the back line. Yeah, Jivey ends up getting melted down. But NX decides to counter with their own Primal Rage. Like, fine, you're going to go for my supports. I'm going to go for yours. Dive in from Faraday. Doesn't have a whole lot of health, but yeah, there's the Primal Rage to back it up, add another 1,000 to it. Kind of battering away Izu Legend at the moment, who has a nano boost, is trying to build the rest of the blade. There it is, but it's right as the nano is going to fade. Izu Legend has to dash all the way across to pick up that kill into Key Gator, and it puts him in a vulnerable position that Faraday's able to take advantage of. Still, the Lobos struggling with punching power after losing Key Gator.
And the rally is out. The nano or the anti-zap. That's it. Wow.
Oh. I thought for sure they'd at least get a touch in there and that we were going to have this prolonged overtime fight between our two teams. I in no way anticipate that to end right then and right there. NM State absolutely evict the Lobos off of the point. University of New Mexico was looking so good, Billy. Like, looking so dominant for the beginning of that.
I mean, it took them a minute to get the point cap. It was a really waiting for ultimates to come up. Because the fights were so decisively won from the Aggies that the Lobos just didn't have anywhere to go. I mean, there was great counterplay here through the streets and into the Foundry. But I think that the biggest kicker here was the Nanoblade that came out from New Mexico State. It took Keygator out of the tack visor, and then they didn't have any punching power after that. You see Jivey put out the rally, keeping everybody nice and sturdy. That flail, I think, is what kept Faraday off the point, and that's why we are where we are, and looking at a very, very decent push into the Foundry. But I think that Lobos really need to have a pretty sizable standing here on the first point. They need to whittle as much time as they can off this clock, because we're looking at an NX Zarya up against the Winston once again.
I feel like the Lobos look pretty darn good once after they swap to the Winston. Prior to that, not so much. But after the Winston swap, the Lobos really seem to kind of found their rhythm a little bit, but yeah, certainly lost it there towards the end. Sticking with the Winston comp for the defense. Already on the objective goes NX's Zarya. Lobos are trying to look around to the back and find Drummer as they do so. It's kind of just hid in Hotel and then just Blitzkrieg sprung onto the back line. Kurama does fall in that exchange as well, so NX and company have to just sit back. Wait for a moment, but they don't want to wait too long. They've got to Genji down.
I mean, these right clicks are actually really, really good. What a
nice
engage
move
there.
Yeah, the bubble onto Legend kept them from getting booped away from the flail. Brilliant move. And NM State absolutely capitalized on that player advantage they have.
Oh, and I mean, now we got a high charge NX. This is done. This is done. That's the first point that's going to go over to the Aggies. And I mean, one fight and you're done. Just a little over a minute. And that's oh my God, the staggers are going to be horrible.
Yeah, Silhouette's going to spawn in the Foundry, and they're not going to be able to spawn in the Subway. So it's going to be a long walk back here for the Yana, which means NM State can at least get up to Bookstore. They will not have to fight for Arches.
Well, and Silhouette has the lead in the nano department, but I'm worried that, not being in the fight right now could actually get that pass there from Drummer. There it is, Drummer going past with the healing resources coming in. Sound barrier is going to be online here just very shortly for Jivey.
They really wanted to hold that top high ground area, but just ate too much damage and had to retreat. So NX is free to move up around the pub here. Jumping in comes Faraday, trying to reclaim some of that space. Oh, what a bio-nade! This Drummer just ends Faraday in a heartbeat. Nanobus comes out onto Kurama as they go into the back. No blade to speak of. Just going to have to do it in the neutral and not having it. Azul Legend takes down their nano counterpart, and the Lobos are struggling for any purchase here on Kings Row.
Oh, Zulu Legend on this Genji is absolutely a menace.
Oh,
I mean,
man. What a
Can
beast.
we talk about the bubble management from NX though?
NX's
Is
bubbles are
sacrificing their own bubble to make sure that their teammates are good and sturdy? My word, absolutely perfect Zarya play. I saw your screenshot of your Zarya play, by the way. This is reminiscent of that. I'm very proud of you, Jeff.
Yeah, I've been one-tricking Zarya for about a month now. Genji blade up into the back. Finds one. Able to deflect the sleep dart, and Drummer doesn't stand a chance after that. It's a three-piece when it's all said and done, and the Lobos find themselves a little bit of confidence, and it couldn't have come at a better time.
I mean, they get the Graviton Surge out, so that's
I didn't notice that. They absolutely did get the grab out. Holy cow. Where did that go?
I didn't
there it
see
is.
where it went.
Wait, no, that was the Disruptor shot I just saw.
It wasn't deflected, was it? No.
I never saw the grab. I never heard the grab. And you can't interrupt grab. Grab is instantaneous. It's not like Blizzard where there's a momentary animation that you can interrupt it. Grab is instantaneous. So it went somewhere. Never saw it. Didn't matter, like you said.
Well, they do have Nano Blade or a Nano Tack, depending on how they want to go with this. I mean, you'll have the Tack Visor, so it just depends how they do it.
Yeah, it's going to be an Overclock versus a Nano Blade. It looks like the Nano Blade's winning out to start as Keygator gets cut in two. Rama will eventually fall as well. No DPS here for the defense, and it's a 4v3. Azul Legend, who has been a legend throughout this map thus far, moves in to clean up the three remaining defenses. But Faraday's popped a Primal Rage, buys some time for these reinforcements to return. Sound barrier out from NM State allows them to get super aggressive into the back. In fact, they just turned all their attention on to the nanoed Faraday. Faraday gets slapped, and everybody's like, no, let's get this Brig off of the point. Brig is able to back out. Faraday is back on their feet, and the Lobos continue to hold. Kurama does eventually fall as Attack Visor, the only online for either team, is pressed here on the very back end of the fight, and Depressa will save the point here for NM State.
Oh man, so good. So good for them. And they're going to have, what, 3.5? Yeah, 345 going into the Foundry. Late kill there on the Faraday. It's going to give them some room. Yeah, I got to get the payload moving. And now you're going to have another Nano online. You're going to have the Graviton Surge as well. Nothing really close other than a Blade for Karama. Karama needs to build this up in a fast minute.
Faraday has to hold this quarter. Like, you just can't give this up. You can't let NX have this space. And the Graviton Surge is ready to go and launches it immediately. That's going to get at least 3, if not 4. Suzu is used, and Azulu falls through that exchange. Bionade and Nano used on NX, and Drummer picks up 2. What an incredible honor. Behind every great take is an even better support, and the Drummer Inex duo are about to win this map. Suzu out to try to protect Keygator, but once that's gone, so is the Soldier. Blade from spawn as Kurama desperately wants to send the Aggies packing, but they are entrenched deep here in the Foundry. Azul Legend is there. The Battle of the Ninjas is going in the favor of blue. Just should I say Crimson. New Mexico State win their second map in a row, are a match point against the Lobos.
Did not have this on the bingo card. Nah. This is a tour de force coming out from the Aggies right now, and Zulu Legend absolutely showing up big here with the Sojourn. I thought the Genji was even better.
They both look pretty mean. They both look pretty darn mean. I'd have to agree. The Genji stood out a little bit more in my mind, but you know, going over it with a fine-tooth comb, they find that Sojourn was equally as deadly and demanding of attention. Oh, this Nano ride. What? There are a few things as fun to watch as a Nano ride just charging through a team.
I mean, I love Faraday on the Winston. I mean, that was a great swap for them. I think they should really lean into this. Maybe a little bit more fight planning. I think that's the only other thing I would ask for them, is maybe think about their positioning and, you know, make sure that you have. If you're going up against Ana, it's almost mandatory that you have the Kiriko there to cleanse, but I don't think it mattered in the end. I think that the Aggies are just on a full head of steam right now.
I mean, with as good as Drummer has been on the Ana, I mean, you're investing a lot of resources just to try to keep those Bionades at bay. Because we saw it there at the end. NM State is down, and Drummer lands a 2-hit bio that's on perfect target, like easy to follow up on, right in front of the team. You could see everybody from NM State just screaming what hero they want to go after as the entirety of the squad converges onto those purple targets. I mean, it was really just NX and Drummer. There wasn't a whole lot left there in that final fight for NM State, but they get the job done, taking the 2-0 lead heading into halftime, which, you know what, is the perfect time to go over to our YouTube, because all of our VODs are there. You're looking for VOD from your favorite team or from your own school, go to the NECC YouTube. All VODs housed there. Just search NECC Esports to find our page. While you're there, drop a sub. Be notified for all of our future NECC content. With that, we're headed into the half. NM State, your 0-4 team, are on match point. Can they pull it out? We'll find out in map 3. See you in a minute. Well, we have got, wow, what a start. What a start. We have got an upset in the making here. The underdogs, NM State, are up 2-0 heading into the half over the 3-1 University of New Mexico. Unbelievable stuff coming out from Drummer and NECC specifically, but it looks like we might be getting some changes here out of the Lobos to try to deal.
I mean, we'll see. Barracks is coming in now in the tank department, and we'll see what they have coming up now. Really, just it was just too much for Faraday to handle, and maybe this is a map-specific swap, or maybe it is just the map or the hero pool for Faraday does not match up against what the Aggies are dishing out tonight. So Barracks in, Faraday out.
Well, we did get some word, although I'm not sure how reputable, that Barracks could be a Zarya player coming in to match the Zarya from NECC. So that's kind of what I'm anticipating heading into Flashpoint. That actually makes a bit of sense. I like the Zarya on Flashpoint. Just good aggression to get in and hold space on an objective. So that would be what I'm anticipating, but it's nothing more than speculation until we get into this map 3.
Well, I mean, we saw the NX Reinhardt, which was pretty darn good. I'm wondering if there's a Junker Queen, perhaps, in our future, and especially with the map pick that has just been shown to us. It's going to be New Junk City. So this is a brawlier map than what Suravasa really tends to offer. I think Suravasa is more of a mobility map. I think this is a knockdown, drag them out, kill until they're dead kind of map. And man, if NECC stays on this Zarya, and that's what Barracks specializes in. Oh, baby, I love Zarya v Zarya battles. I mean, the battle of the barriers will be where we join in, and then we'll see what the supporting cast around it will look like.
It really does turn into a battle of who can get more value out of their bubbles, be it a self bubble or a projected barrier. So far, I gotta say, NECC's management of their barriers has been top notch today. I mean, I think back into that engagement on Point A Kings Row where they used the barrier onto Izulu to prevent them from getting whip shot back. Like, very specific use of the barrier, knowing the one thing that could have stopped them in their tracks. So it's not just only looking for personal charge and trying to stay at 100 all the time. Really smart use of the barrier coming out of NECC in a lot of different
ways. I loved it. We noticed it, the flicks and making sure that their vulnerable person was taken care of. I think the most impressive one that I saw was right there on their attack when they were going in around the bookstore, and you saw Zulu Legend go extremely low, and they were anteed up. The bubble comes in, he gets into the pub, he gets the mega in there, and is back out into the fight. That was the most impressive bubble so far that I saw. It was just perfectly timed. It was perfectly weighted. They knew that it had to go there, and they got the job done. So fantastic stuff. Also, thank our prod tonight, Hippie, directing things, and Cinzia, one of the best in the biz, giving us these wonderful pictures out here tonight. This could be potentially the last map here for the Lobos. They are up against it. They are facing match point.
It's kind of do or die time here for the University of New Mexico. See if they can live up to the 3-1 billing. I mean, we gave them the favorites coming in. I mean, how could you not? 3-1 team from University of New Mexico taking on the 0-4 New Mexico State. And well, guess what? New Mexico State have doubled the amount of map wins they had all season in the first 2 maps alone here.
Well, we will see what happens with this. Little funny note here for Barracks. Plays competitive Castlevania games on the Game Boy Advance. So kind of fun there.
Okay. And so I even knew that existed. I did not know there was competitive Castlevania.
I mean, that was one of my games growing up playing on the Game Boy, was Castlevania. That was a heck of a game. It was a lot of fun. We'll see if this will translate over to Overwatch. I don't know necessarily how that works, but I'm trying to bridge the gap there. But you know what? Just a little bit more, maybe some issues with the mouse, I believe is what it is. But tech things happen. They'll get it sorted out. But I'm really interested. I think our first zoom in moment needs to be on the tanks. Do we see Drummer come out also back on the Ana? We saw them pick up a really crucial kill there in the Foundry on their attack phase. Just kind of 90-degree flick and just nailed the Genji of Kurama pretty easily. I don't have any kind of aim like that, so anything like that to me is super impressive anyways. But we'll see. We see, at least as far as what the spawns are showing us, we may get that Zarya v Zarya matchup that we're wanting.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're anticipating here, and that is what they have locked in currently. I mean, that could change, right after first fight. They could get through first point, and one of our teams decides to make a swap. Looks like we've got whatever mice issues worked out. Fortunately, we got that pause during character selection, so we'll have no bearing here on our initial rollout to grab first control.
Well, the thing I like here is Keygator on the Cassidy. That grenade could really make life trouble for Depressor and Zulu Legend. Also, the combat roll, 75% damage reduction during the duration of it. So that might be a way to keep them up.
Could help survive a pulse bomb. That's for sure. Zarya v Zarya unleashed here. The Lobos hoping this is the answer. Get back into this series, you can see immediately just putting attention down. Got INX's bubble out early, and Karama finds first blow. All attention on to NX. Works out well here for the Lobos. They are going to grab this first one. And you know what? So far, so good for the Zarya look out of barracks.
Well, I mean, looking at the charges, I mean, you'll get to keep your charge initially here, but 10% difference between the Graviton Surge generation. I don't know about the Depresso Tracer here. You're going to have to really focus down Keygator and watch for that grenade to come out, and then communicate that to the rest of your team as being able to push in on the back of it.
Maybe try to catch somebody out. I mean, Silhouette's able to get out of there in a hurry. Bozeman's got speed and wall climbing. Who you to lock down is a Tracer. It looks like Depresso's just trying to fight on the front line. Here comes NX with 100 charge to back them up. But an early Kitsune rush from the Lobos, trying to get a bit of advantage, but it's a Graviton Surge in response. Lobos still managed to get 2 after losing 1, and in the 4v5, the University of New Mexico rise up and still manage to win the fight, potentially at this point.
Well, I mean, that's definitely going to do it. You might get some changes here. Yeah, we got massive changes coming in here for New Mexico State. We're seeing the Reaper come out here now. So there's some escapability there. Once again, very vulnerable to that magnetic grenade. They're going to go ahead and drop this point and wait for the generation of the next one. Yeah, they actually made a smart decision just to disengage. And, well, we're going to go to Bomb Flats next. And, yeah, I mean, you're going to have to be very careful with Keygator on this big anti coming in.
Yep, Barrick said, get some bubbles to cleanse everybody there. Don't know if they have any left in the pockets, and about half health. And not really disengaging. Over the top is going to go in Karama, but a perfect sound barrier from Jivey. And Izulu has one of their own. Graviton Surge from Barrick trying to lock up Izulu, and indeed does. But NX is able to find their counterpart when it's all said and done. And here comes New Mexico State roaring towards Keygator. Yeah, they could knock it out of there in time. There wasn't enough damage reduction in the world to stop that one.
And once again, it's on the back of a Bionade that starts the whole fight off. They survive. Beautiful usage of that sound barrier that came out from Jivey. And, you know, Bozeman put their zone out too, and just not enough. So, great fight turn there. This is looking good for Crimson.
Lob to the Reaper. Working out thus far. Putting a lot more pressure down on the Barracks in that Zarya battle. Barracks already just turning tail. They find some safety to get topped up. Okay, they're going to loop around through this high ground, so they're going to take a little bit of a different approach. Rotation from University of New Mexico to greet the Aggies. And well, it was an interesting decision. It looked like Lobos found a better target and went and just collapsed onto NX instead. Silhouette now diving into the back. We'll find that kill. Lobos should be able to flip this. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, I mean that's just easy for them to flip there once you lost NX in that early part of the fight. And Depresso as well. I mean, your punching power is gone. So, I mean, you're going to have to... I mean, do you go in with, say, a Graviton Surge and a Death Blossom? It's definitely on the table.
What's a main combo? Going to be the Kitsune Rush start things off. There's the Graviton Surge from NX right on the corner. Bubble onto Depresso, but they don't pull the trigger on their own ultimate because Izulu is there dashing through everybody caught up in the wave of gravity. You gonna get out, Barracks? You gonna get out, Barracks? At least gonna get their own Graviton Surge, but they will not be able to escape.
I mean, I think this is for fight planning now. I think that you just say, you know what, okay, GG's, you win Bomb Flats, we'll take our chances with the next point. They might actually try to make a touch here. I'm not a fan of this, and Keygator's out on the Tracer now.
Yeah, we've swapped. Now University of New Mexico want to play with the Tracer. I think it was just to try to get a touch here. I think they can win this point back. Sound barrier from Jivey should protect against this blade and against, well, no, excuse me, it's Depresso's Death Blossom. Just kind of forced everybody from the Lobos into the welcoming arms of the rest of the squad. New Mexico State will tie us up here on this map.
Yep, and I mean, they've got Nano Blade available for the next fight. Barracks does have their Graviton Surge, so that can actually shut down that combo. And now we're going to head off to the junkyard next. And Sound Barrier, big advantage there for the Lobos. They've got the ultimates here to really take this fight to the Aggies. It just depends on, you know, can they get in fight in the neutral, or do they have to actually pop them?
Well, with this back high ground, I think this is the most important objective to arrive at first. so you can set up back here. It makes it so difficult for the opponent to get to you. So despite several ultimates online for the Lobos, I think they've got a real uphill battle to try to win this point. NECC is going to drop down to make sure there's some point presence. Kurama trying to take advantage of that fact and go jump on the Ana, but Drummer has a nade on themselves, staying alive, and eventually Kurama works around the outside to find that angle. Drummer down. Means there's not enough left here for NECC to hold court on the objective. Now, Izulu picked up 2, but they have just a sliver of health left. Barracks is there to clean it up.
But they did invest the Graviton Surge, so that's a big win condition off the table now for the Lobos. And we'll see this Nanoblade being, yeah, it's big. We'll see the Nanoblade probably invested into this fight. I want to see where Depresso goes. You know, do you wraith around the back of it? Do you try to lock up? Do you try to finish off any low value targets? There it goes.
That's going to be a Nanoblade out here from Azulu. And trying to jump onto the supports. Okay, eventually, nice little patience to wait out that Zarya bubble and make sure they can secure the kill onto Bozeman. Well played from Azulu.
Yeah,
Like we shouldn't expect anything less from this Genji at this point, Billy.
Nah. I mean, they're playing absolutely out of their mind today. Graviton Surge, Sound Barrier ready to go into this fight. They got some staying power now, Jeff, but they're going up against a Pulse Bomb. Barrier is going to be very, very high on premium list here for NECC in this next fight.
I mean, no defense against the Pulse Bomb outside of a good bubble. They can get done. Running in the back really wants Drummer. Drummer's the ideal target. Okay, they've been found out! Azulu gets him with the combo. Kurama gets swept on a blade! They keep trying to go after Drummer, and Drummer's not having any of it. Yeah, Drummer's eventually out of the fight, but the Lobos, I mean, they use everything to kill one.
They did hold on to their Pulse Bomb, though. I mean, they hold on to that, so that's good, and they're going to go ahead and get Grandma back in the fight nice and quick. But, I mean, if you're Lobos right now, you have to recontest this point because you're facing map and match point.
Drummer's looking like MVP at the moment, I'm just saying. And again, New Mexico State have this precious high ground. The Lobos only have 2 ways in. Everybody coming up the front. Pulse Bomb lands. Drummer is gone. Keygator able to get that precious target they're looking for. Sound Barrier as well as Death Blossom in here from New Mexico State. The Fox out of the point, but nobody touches! I don't know if they're going to win that one anyway, but that's a little heartbreaking, not going to lie.
I mean, they devalued the Death Blossom from Depresso, so that's, you know, at least
and the Sound Barrier.
Yeah, I mean, they really did make sure that they got that point, and it looks like we're heading to Refinery up next. So Drummer about 35%-ish away from Nano. You're working for Nanoblade once again.
Messiest Refinery I've ever seen. There's just acid leaking out everywhere. Watch your step, friends. Also got to be aware of, well, Drummer in the back. Absolute all-star. And eyes on the Bastion at the moment. Make sure Keycatter cannot get set up. Unfortunately, it means NECC did not get the healing they were needing, so they're going to fall. Big Bionade to try to equalize, but a Graviton Surge means Barracks is staying safe and sound through the rest of this fight, while Keygator feasts.
Okay, so I mean, nice fight win there. The Graviton Surge locks up Depresso. You know, you've got Nanoblade in this fight. Barrier, Sound Barrier should be ready to go for that. Kurama's coming up on a blade of their own, so, you know, if they play their cards right, we should be looking at about, what, 50%? If they win this fight, they'll get it up to about 90. Yeah, we should be looking at the fifth sub-map coming up here if they play their cards right.
Still a couple of things for New Mexico State to work with. Certainly not a foregone conclusion, though. An uphill task. Oh, this best way to get uphill is just to fly up there with a nano at your back and a katana in your hand. Drummer falls on the back line, but Izulu is up here on front, demanding the attention of all. Ooh, blade from the other side, shut down by Depresso. 3v2 on the point, favoring it. Zulu is one of those 3, which means New Mexico State will rob this point away.
I mean, great heals once again coming from the support line of New Mexico State. The big problem now is that Graviton Surge is ready to go. The Sound Barrier is going to be behind that, and then you're going to be dealing with a Blossom. So, I mean, it's going to be tic-tac-toe. Great fight win there. I mean, the Nanoblade gets the job done. Keygator might be the ace in the hole here, though.
Oh. Configuration turned on to the Reaper after the deflecting Genji. But Zulu goes down. Graviton Surge in from NX. Drummer's able to get one on the back of that, but New Mexico State are still down a player in this fight. Vic's trying to move in. It's about half charge, and eyes are on NX at the moment. You see the Bastion is looking that same direction, knowing how dangerous that Zarya can be. Must keep NX at bay. But off of that left-hand side comes Depresso in with the Death Blossom. Soundbarrier used as well from New Mexico State to try to close this out. Zulu is back. New Mexico State are absolutely in control.
It's going to be very hard to get a touch. That's
game. This is a 3-0 to the Aggies. What an incredible upset here today. The Crimson Squad out of Las Cruces, New Mexico, rule the state after this one.
I am absolutely gobsmacked. I am impressed. And I mean, this in-state rivalry, the Aggies taking it in a sweep, and a pretty dominant sweep at that, Jeff.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it was 2-0 on Anarch Peninsula. They managed to stop the Lobos shy of a cap on Kings Row and close that one out in a 3-2. I mean, I think New Junk City was the closest that the Lobos got with bringing Barracks in on the Zarya. Still, I think the synergy and the rhythm was just too strong from Drummer, NX, Zulu, and the rest. Hard to pick an MVP, but Drummer really just stole it for me. I mean, it helps that they're a drummer and an animator. Like, you get bonus points from me for that one. But the outstanding Ana play is really what it's all about. And it never ceased all series long. Huge congrats to the Aggies for picking up their first win of the season. And it's such a cool rivalry match.
I love it. And we got the showdown that we wanted at the OK Corral there with the two Zaryas. So, I mean, that's a bonus as well.
Agreed. Always fun to watch. It means both teams are just going to be aggressive, and that's what we got. You know, it wasn't a lot of standing around poking each other. These teams were in each other's faces, fearless from both sides. But New Mexico State, I mean, they had the better rotations on New Junk City. Like, on this point in particular, being able to get this high ground, solidify up there was huge. Really good movement to get that. Great aggression once we got into Refinery. I mean, this is the kind of match that makes you look at the record and go, how is this team 1-4 after week 5?
Yeah, I mean, this should absolutely be a catalyst for the rest of their season. I mean, getting the Land of Enchantment in your favor is no small feat, especially with that 3-1 record that the Lobos were coming in with. They might be mentally boomed after that loss from last week. So, yeah, I mean, this is a fantastic result here for the Aggies. The Lobos got some serious thoughts to get done here in the next week before we see them next week.
Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of good stuff going on in this next week. I mean, that concludes our Overwatch matches for tonight, but there's still plenty of NECC action going on day in and day out. This isn't the only title we have here at NECC, friends. We've also got our Fall Open going on. Don't miss your chance to make your mark on the ref. This League of Legends Samsung SSD Fall Open is calling all aspiring esports champions. Rise to the challenge in our qualifier tournament. Grab your teammates, register now, prepare to compete. Ash, Glory, and epic Samsung SSD prizes in this Ultimate Showdown. Join the action, claim your spot on the leaderboard, make your mark on the Collegiate Rift. We've already had our first qualifier conclude over the weekend. We've got another one coming up here on November 4th and 5th with finals taking place the following weekend, November 11th and 12th. Should be good stuff. Go follow the socials and all that, and we'll keep you updated on it. I'm really looking forward to this tournament.
I'm looking forward to it too. I have no idea other than what I watch on TV or on the internet about League of Legends. But
yeah,
man, I mean, it's fun to watch. It's very interesting to me. But I mean, so good. This is a lot of stuff here this season for NECC. But it's been a fantastic day of Overwatch, Jeff.
It certainly has. Speaking of so good, I want to give a shout out to Hippie, our producer, and Cynthia, our observer behind the scenes. They deserve another shout because they do good work, y'all. And also, big thank you to everybody there for hanging out with us tonight. It has been an absolute blast. Unbelievable performance from Mexico State. I'm going to leave you with that. Y'all give them some congrats. We'll see you next Thursday. Bye, friends.
I've got the Samsung 990 Pro Series. Shall we get started then? This speed exceeds all expectations. Reading speeds are 40% quicker than before, and writing speeds are 55% faster. Through the in-house controller, the per watt performance has improved up to 50%. The 990 Pro's nickel coating controller for its smart thermal solution technology controls heat. Playing computer games? Obviously the best.